Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And if you are in the Milwaukee area, it's wet, very wet. Just a few minutes ago, it was pouring rain, pouring rain. Today, we're going to talk about some of the things I've been posting about this week, and it is no one cares what you know. Hate to break it to you. Hate to break the bad news to you. When all your smarts, or all the smarts that you think you have can work against you if you're a jerk. If you're not truly, genuinely showing your team, showing your employees, showing your peers how much you care. President Theodore Roosevelt is quoted as saying, "No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care." So, is this really true? We used to hear all the time, it's just business, it isn't personal, or, this is business, leave your personal life at the door, or, it doesn't, don't take everything so personally. Business can be very cutthroat, especially when we have this do whatever it takes. When we are white knuckling our way through business, when we are white knuckling our way through productivity, and even when we have a strained attitude towards engagement. So when, I'm not saying that you're not going to set firm boundaries and be firm with your employees and be assertive with accountability or be passionate about what you believe in. That's not the case. When we act as if we don't care, our employees feel like crap. They feel like a commodity. They feel taken advantage of. There's so much that happens, and we're going to talk about more about the impact in a moment. I want to share with you a story. A woman I know just changed jobs within her company, very popular organization in the Midwest here. And she was shocked, to say the least, at the kindness and support of her new leader. She had gotten so used to, and I'm talking for years at this company and I think her previous company. So with her old boss, she was literally being yelled at for every mistake, for everything that wasn't done on time or wasn't done to their specifications. She was yelled at. I mean, literally yelled at for not answering emails on the weekends, while on vacation, and on holidays. She was yelled at. And so when her new leader showed her kindness and showed the team kindness after a coworker's mistake and brought the team together, talked about how they could all learn from that mistake and not make that mistake again going forward, she was blown away. She was absolutely blown away. You can just see the stress kind of flowing off, and how excited and happy she was for the fact that this leader cared enough to take a pause and actually let the employees know, hey, it happens. Here's, let's assess it. Let's look at it. Let's see what happened. Unfortunately, the crap behavior of that first leader is way more common than I think any one of us care to admit. And that shouldn't be the case. That is why I do what I do. That is why that's why I help support. First of all, I just do leadership development in general, and I have a specialty in working with leaders who have gotten the does not play well with others on their report card just a few too many times. And, or as my tagline says, when your MVP is an ASS. When you're not showing that you care, it can, and I am going to boldly say will, impact your bottom line. And I'm going to share just a few ways that it does. There's more ways than this. I mean, and all of these come down to it impacts the bottom line. So when you don't really genuinely show care for your employees and show that you care about them as people and not just what they're producing and what the output is and what they're creating, when you don't care for them as a human, it will reduce your productivity. When employees feel valued, they're more motivated, they're more engaged, and higher engagement equals higher productivity. And they are going to take a deeper level of ownership when they're productive, when they're actually feeling valued, when they feel like you give a crap about them as a person and not just the spreadsheet you're creating, they will take a deeper level of ownership, impacting how focused they are and how much they can accomplish. The other area that it's going to hit your bottom line is retention. Because, you've heard it probably over and over again that employees don't leave companies, they leave bosses. And so your employee retention, when you've got a manager, when you've got a leader, when you've got a senior leader who does not show their care, who is the MVP, who's an ASS, maybe that leader is producing, maybe that team member is producing, but they're a jerk to everybody around them. They're rude, they're condescending. People are going to leave. And replacing employees is getting more and more challenging and more expensive because of those challenges. So when you show you care, when you create a positive, supportive culture, and employees know that you care about them, they're going to go the extra mile. They're going to endure more challenge. They're going to endure more, problem solving and going through risk and going through, challenges in order and stay with that leader and stay with that organization when they know that they're valued. Your employee retention is so important because and employee retention of the right employees. Let's make sure we talk about that because if you don't have the right people in the right seats, then you want to make sure that you're helping those employees move to a part of the organization or another organization where their gifts, their talents, what they can do best is served to you, to the organization and to you and to the, the department that you're in. That's a whole different situation, when you've got somebody in the wrong seat. But a revolving door on your team is costing you money. And if you're a CEO, you're a senior leader, and you're not paying attention to the, who's leaving the organization and why they're leaving and getting honest feedback about why they're leaving, it could be because your leaders are not showing that care, that compassion, that understanding, that appreciation for who that employee is as a human being before, they focus on results. So you've also got, the other way that this is, that was 1 and 2. So productivity, number 1, retention, number 2, number 3 is decreased collaboration. When people think that you don't give a shit about them, that is a virus that spreads through your team. They're not going to give a shit about other people often. Your projects, tasks are going to take more time. They're going to take more money. The care and empathy encourages open communication. It encourages collaboration. And when people don't think you care, then their thought is going to be, why should I care? Why should I care about the crap that I'm creating when you don't care about me as a person, as an employee? All I am is a cog in the wheel of your, massive or even small business. Fostering care and empathy reduces destructive conflict. It allows for healthy conflict. It provides the foundation for healthy debate. That healthy debate is what is absolutely necessary in collaboration. You don't want cordial hypocrisy. We've talked about that before. You don't want people to be saying yes because they think they should, or because they're afraid to say no, or they're afraid to push back. The other thing that takes a hit, so we talked about productivity, we talked about retention, we talked about collaboration, creativity and innovation also take a nosedive when you don't show that you care about your employees. Employees will always be on alert when they don't think you care, when you are that MVP who's an ASS, when you are, a firecracker just waiting to go off, they are going to be on alert for the next blow up. They are going to, wait for, they're always kind of bracing for the next blow up, for the next lash out. And with our nervous system, this is biological, with our nervous system on high alert, the prefrontal cortex goes offline. People don't have access to creativity. They don't have access to planning. They don't have that executive brain to be able to do the things that you actually need and want them to do in your business. They don't have the blood drains from that part of our brain, and it goes to our heart, our arms, our muscles, our, for the fight, flight, or freeze. And you can see that in how your employees are responding. People talk about quiet quitting. Quiet quitting is a form of fight, flight, or freeze. They are not moving forward. So when there is that psychological safety, when there is that care, when there is that empathy and understanding, your employees are going to take more calculated risks. They are going to be more open to opportunity. They're going to provide opportunities for revenue growth, for increased competitiveness when they are able to, have that ease and openness without being on alert for what's the next lash out that's going to happen. And then the last thing is just costs. You're going to improve your bottom line by decreasing costs. First, obviously, we talked about earlier the cost of turnover. The time that it takes to find and interview and vet new employees, and then train them and have you absorb the cost of mistakes because they're brand new, and write out all of the bumps and things that happen along the way when you bring a new employee into the team. Most people are actually really quite shocked when you add up those costs. It's been quoted that it could be anywhere from 50%, which I think is quite low, of a person's annual salary if they're a entry-level employee, all the way up to 250 to 300 times their salary if they are a senior level executive, kind of C-suite executive leader. So turnover is one of the costs. The other cost that increase is healthcare and well-being. Because when people are under that kind of stress of always being on alert, looking for the next blow up, bracing themselves for the next lash out, then it's going to create physical and mental stress. That's going to impact their well-being. That is going to lead to increased sick days. That could lead to more absenteeism, and it increases the risk of burnout. So, which, I've seen people have to take months off of work from burnout. True, can happen. And so we look at all of these ways that not showing that genuine care, and I mean genuine, it needs to be genuine. It can't be fake. You need to allow yourself to get into that space of vulnerability to actually show that care. And here's just a few ways that you can start to get more connected to your employees and show that you care. One is, and we did this on a team that I was at for quite a while, was to have a question of the day or a question of the week. So if you have a weekly team meeting, get to know them, use a question that everybody goes around, just a quick, simple answer that allows you to get to know them to get to know you, and them to get to know each other more personally. Their hobbies, their preferences, how they spend their free time, their families, their kids, their parents, what's exciting, what's troubling. And what I want to really emphasize here is, and I'm going to say this throughout each of the three things I share with you, is your job is to listen and hold space. It isn't to fix anything unless they ask for assistance. You know, so you don't want to judge people's answers. You just want to listen and hold space. And you can do this at the beginning of a team meeting, or you can, if you're having an all day offsite, there's, I would create at least, some amount of time that you're working on the relationship of the team. I know one organization, I saw Zillow at a conference, and they spoke about how they are a remote company now, and that the majority of their employees live more than 50 miles from an office. However, they have quarterly retreats. They call them Z retreats. And these Z retreats, most of the time in the retreat, and it's usually a couple of days every quarter, where they bring everybody into one of the offices. Instead of people coming in 3 days a week or every day of the week or once a week or whatever it is, they come in once a quarter. And most of that time is spent on building the relationship on the team. And they have seen huge success with this program. That building the relationship then carries over into other activities that you do every day, every week, every month, and then on a quarterly basis, really putting some genuine effort into building relationships. Another thing that you can do, so those are two ways, but a question of the week, ask about how they're feeling about the things they're working on. Not just, hey, how you doing today? Because most people are going to answer with good, fine, okay. Those answers, you don't want to rest with those. Ask them and be specific. How are you feeling about the project you're working on? And allow them space and listen. Don't try to fix whatever issues. Just, a good way to get more information or to get them to talk a bit if they're not used to opening up to you in this way is say more. Tell me more about that. And really, truly listen, because you don't want the pat answers that most people give. It's fine, it's okay, or I'm tired. You want to really understand, how are you feeling? And there are tools, use out on the internet, or if you want, I can, DM me and I'll send you a link to a list of the emotions. Pick one of these. Okay, fine, good, tired. Can't be one of them. Because we're too used to saying that so quickly that we don't even check in to know how we are really feeling. And then what you can do is ask them what increased support would look like for them. Do they need more support, and what would that look like? Could they use support in the area you asked them about, or maybe there's something you're concerned about that's happening on the team? Ask them what more support would look like for them, instead of offering anything specific that you might think is the answer, because you want them to get into their creative brain. I want to share, to end here, I want to share a quote which kind of reinforces, this is from Inc. magazine, and it reinforces everything I've just said. Having this kind of loyalty and support from the people you work with makes work more fulfilling, while making it easier to operate profitably. Treating people poorly, disrespectfully, or even neutrally won't create the kind of loyalty that's needed to build profitable companies, and certainly won't generate the loyalty needed to build world-changing organizations, businesses. To do that, it's important that the people around you genuinely feel valued. It's important that they know that you have their best interests at heart, so that they don't have to be defensive or offensive. Both ways, being defensive and being offensive, take so much energy, which could be used to being creative, being productive, being innovative. This is from an article by James Schmachtenberger, who is co-founder and CEO of the Neurohacker Collective. So there's a lot more articles about this. There's a lot more that reinforces that showing how much you care can truly impact your bottom line. So comment below if you're on the replay. If you have any questions, if you'd like some support on building that culture of caring, that culture of connection on your leadership team, DM me. Let's have a chat. We'll talk to you next week.